Lower Kindergarten Phonics Part 2. Letter recognition, letter formation and word reading. In this video, you will learn how to introduce letters one by one, how to enable the child to write the letter correctly, how to introduce cursive strokes and letters, how to transition from letters to words, the importance of nonsense words. At the lower kindergarten level, we need to focus on letter recognition, word formation and word reading. If the child is able to read short sentences before it gets into upper kindergarten, then at the upper kindergarten level, the teacher or parent could focus on paragraph reading. Do not put too much of focus on writing. However, the child needs to know how to write the upper and lower case correctly but not perfectly. Those little fingers are still developing. The fine motor skills are still developing, and the hand is still struggling to hold a writing tool. So, do not focus on perfect letter writing. Pay more attention to word reading and sentence reading. Now, we introduce one letter at a time, and for this you could either write it on a board where the child is aware of the letter. Another thing is we focus only on the sound, because when we are reading words, we read the word with the sound, not the name of the letter. And we focus on the lower case because when you look at a text, a paragraph, you'll find that 90 to 95% of all the letters are in the lower case. So remember these three important points when you're teaching phonics. Prepare letter cards the size of visiting cards from A to Z. Now these are going to be very useful when the child begins to form words. It's very easy to prepare them. Type out the letters on 2 or 3 A4 sheets of paper, laminate them and cut them. If you do not laminate them, it will not last for even a week. If you laminate them, you could use it for almost 5 to 6 years. Now, you could also have the cursive letter at the back. Again, this is optional and not mandatory. Introducing cursive letters at the lower kindergarten level is optional. Now, hold up the card and say the sound eh, eh, eh. The letter could also be written on a whiteboard or a blackboard or a slate so that the child notices the finger movement. Eh, eh. While writing the letter, say the sound of the letter. Eh, eh. Then let your child place a finger on this letter card and say eh, eh. Now it is important to give the child finger and wrist strengthening pre-writing activities. Coloring activities, free scribbling on old newspapers, free scribbling on white boards or paper pasted on the wall, and simple stroke practice. Here you have coloring activities where the child has to color within given shapes. Scribbling on old newspapers is again a very good activity to strengthen finger gripping skills. Free scribbling on white boards or paper pasted on the wall. Now, the importance of good pencil grip. Notice the positioning of the paper. If your child is right-handed, this is how the paper has to be placed. If your child is left-handed, this is how it has to be placed. Do not try to change the hand with which your child is comfortable writing. If the child wants to write with the left hand, let the child continue writing with the left hand. This is the pencil grip for the left-handed child, and this is the pencil grip for the right-handed child. Notice how we make use of the thumb, the index finger, and the middle finger. The thumb, the index finger, and the middle finger. This is how you hold a pencil. Now, if your child has problems with pencil grip, you could get the child to use a plastic pencil grip for a few days so that the child learns how to use the pencil or crayon correctly. Demonstrate the shape of the letter. So, when you introduce the letter and practice saying the sound, simultaneously practice the shape of the letter. Get the child to write the strokes that make up that letter. And here it is anti-clockwise semicircle and a short vertical line. Again, get the child to finger trace the letter. You could focus only on print, or if you want, you could have both print and the cursive letter placed side by side. Let your child only say the sound and finger trace the letter. Use the two-finger technique. A. When the child is tracing the cursive letter, the child should not lift the finger. A. So, finger tracing the letter has to be done by the child before the child writes the letter. And again, get the child to use two fingers, because when writing, we make use of the thumb, the index finger, and the middle finger. Then you could get the child to associate the sound of the letter with certain objects. A. Apple. A. Alligator. A. Anaconda. A. Ass. A. Ant. After the child has practiced the strokes that make up the letter, get the child to write the letter with jumbo crayons. Notice how we have not used a frame. We have not used two lines to confine the letter. So initially the child writes the letter, traces the letter without those two guiding lines. Again, remember, do not insist on perfect letter tracing. Once the child is comfortable, then you could get the child to trace the letter within two frames. What are the two frames? It is these two lines. Then get your child to practice both the uppercase and the lowercase together, side by side. This is important because your child needs to recognize both as one pair. You could also give the child cursive tracing strokes. Again, this is not mandatory. You could put this off for the upper kindergarten level. But if you would like to introduce, then notice how we have broken that letter into different strokes, numbered them, and then we get the child to practice the strokes. Now, before the child writes on paper, it's a very good idea to practice on an old newspaper. Take half a newspaper, cut it into 4 pieces, and then get your child to practice the strokes of the cursive letter on these 4 pieces of paper. Initially, the first stroke, then the second, repeatedly with a jumbo crayon, then the third. Let your child follow the numbers. And finally, the complete letter. Now, this should be done with every single cursive letter, whether you're teaching it at the lower kindergarten level or the upper kindergarten level. After this, you could go to tracing on a paper. Again, look at the jumbo-sized letters. Once the child has mastered A, we introduce the next letter. Again, get your child to put a finger on this card and say the sound B, B. Get your child to finger trace it while saying the sound B, B. Demonstrate how the letter is written. Get your child to practice the strokes, finger tracing using the 2-finger technique, then objects associated with that sound: B, butterfly, B, bus, B, banana, B, ball, B, book. Then place the 2-letter cards side by side and play with your child. When you say A, your child has to put a finger on this card, and when you say B, your child has to put a finger on this card and repeat the sound B, A, A, B, A, B, B, B. Now this becomes a game for the child, and they learn how to identify the letters and the sounds very quickly. Then we have the letter formation without a frame. Then we move to letter formation with a frame. Notice we only give the lines that are needed for the formation of particular letters. Unnecessarily giving the child a 4th line will be a source of confusion. It will confuse the child. Then we get the child to write both A and B, because the child needs to know how letters are actually formed. You'll find that A is half the size of B, and this is something a child needs to know from the very beginning. Then writing upper and lowercase, again cursive tracing. You need to follow the method that was told earlier. Then introduce K, same method, focus on the sound K. Tracing the stroke, tracing the letter while saying the sound. Use the two-finger technique. Objects that start with that sound: K, cap, K, clock, K, camel, K, cat, K, camera. Now place all three letter cards side by side and get your child to articulate them when you say the sound. K, A, B, A, K, B, K, A, B, B, A. Letter formation without a frame, letter formation with a frame, and then we go to word reading. Get your child to place these two cards side by side and to say the two-letter word ab, 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 k, ab, cab, k, ab, cab, ab, cab, ab, cab, cab. Notice how we do not wait till the child has learnt all the 26 letters of the alphabet. If you do this, your child learns to read very quickly, because now learning is meaningful. Get your child to write the word and to say the word while writing. Now, it's very important also to teach your child how to articulate nonsense words. A, k, ek, b, a, b, back, b, a, k, back, k, a, k, kek. This is the foundation for decoding and syllabification. This is very important when reading bigger words later on. If you start doing this at the very beginning, as you introduce every letter, you'll be very surprised that by the end of lower kindergarten, your child will be able to read big words like this: r-ab, rab, b-it, bit, rab, bit, rabbit, a-ne-m, animal, clinic, clinic, picnic, picnic. This really is the secret to sound reading skills, sound spelling skills, and the ability to decode and syllabify. Then you keep introducing new letters and forming new words. In phonics, we teach letters with which we can make many words. We do not go in sequential order. Hence, letters like Z, X, Q, K, with which we can make very few three-letter words, are taught at the end. So when we introduce T, we get the child to read bat, cat. And so we continue introducing letters after t, r, bat, cat, rat. There is no set of letters that we need to teach first. You could choose letters with which you want to make words. And at the end of 3 months, your child should be able to read a maximum of 8 to 9 letters and words made from these letters. Now, many children reverse letters when they are in preschool. Now, it's very easy to correct this. Now, letters often reversed are B and D, P and Q, M and W, N and U. If you notice a child doing this, please immediately give this particular practice. Take a slate. Now, a slate is important because it has a rough surface. Do not do this exercise on a white board. A white board is smooth and does not give the required friction. Take a slate, divide it into 2, write B on one side, get your child to use a chalk and continue tracing on this letter in the correct direction while saying the name and the sound. B, 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 B. Let your child write on this letter at least 10 to 15 times. Then get your child to write the letter in the blank space on the right. Get your child to do this repeatedly until it is able to write the letter correctly. After that, go to an A4 sheet of paper. Do the same thing. Divide the A4 sheet of paper into 2. On the left side, write the letter and get the child to repeatedly trace on it with a jumbo crayon, saying the name and the sound. Then get the child to write the letter on the right side. If you do this, you'll find that all reversals will be corrected before the child gets into upper kindergarten. This is a very important exercise that has to be done before the child gets into grade 1. It's very difficult to correct reversals once the child gets into grade 1. Now, there are useful preschool guides and templates at the website cfte.in. Please go to the download section, click on others, and you could make use of these for your own purposes. Below this video, you will find links to websites that have interesting preschool activities. Thank you.